What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad tonight. Talking all Eagles tonight. Jason Kelce. What a sad day today is. We're going to be breaking down the NFL Combine. We're going to be talking some draft. And last but not least, some NFL free agency. Joining us, here's Ryan Reese. Give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. An emotional day. I think a lot of grown men in the Philadelphia area were weeping their eyes out earlier today, and rightfully so. It was very emotional.
Yep. And then he is Rob Lange. Give him a follow on X at Philly_Madness. What's up, Rob?
Yeah, man, tough one. One that I think we all saw coming, but it's kind of like one of those situations where it doesn't matter if you're preparing for it. Once it hits you, and it's why I changed my camera today. I went to my wall. There's a Kelce jersey. There's his speech, and actually behind my head is an autographed picture of his speech, and then the great shirt of Jason Kelce that was bought after the Super Bowl. But we'll get to it, man. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to take.
Hungry dogs run faster, man. We'll never forget it. Guys, if you're watching, please comment with us. We're going to be breaking it all down. Danny Savage says the tush pushed over. I disagree.
Yeah, you have a quarterback that can squat 500 pounds. You're okay, guys.
Safe to say the Eagles going center in the first two rounds. We're going to get into that. I agree, Danny Savage, and we'll talk about that. All right. Let's jump right into our reaction to Jason Kelce retiring. 13 seasons, man. Just an underdog in a city that is defined by them. He was a 6th round selection in 2011, 6-time All-Pro, helped win the franchise's only Super Bowl in 2018, fielded the most consecutive starts in franchise history at 156, played the most regular season games by a no lineman in franchise history at 193. The 5th center in league history to be named All-Pro at least 6 times. First player in NFL history to make this 6 All-Pro first teams without making any of his first 6 seasons. He joined all-timers Chuck Bednarik and Reggie White as the 3rd 6-time All-Pro in Eagles history. The face of one of the best offensive lines of the last decade, man. Rob, what was your reaction?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation. It's a tough scenario to take right now. A lot of questions about it. Where do the Eagles go from here? But to kind of stay on the man, I mean, there's only been a few players in my lifetime to evoke this type of emotion for me. Brian Dawkins going to Denver and then his retirement speech is one of the big ones. If you go across sports, Allen Iverson, when he came back and retired a Sixer, it evoked this emotion. But Jason Kelce was a guy who personified who this city was. He got it. We talk about that. Very few people get it. He got it, but he didn't get it right away. It took him. The love for him started with the Super Bowl speech. He kind of broached the topic today. There was a point where everybody was trying to run him out of town. They were trying to trade him or release him because he had a bad year. I can remember him as the end of his rookie year, giving an interview defending Andy Reid when we were all attacking Andy with pitchforks. And I can actually remember thinking as a young guy, man, he doesn't understand this city. And he may not have at that point, but man, did he get it by the end? He's a lifer. He's going to be a guy that, we're going to love forever and ever and ever. I saw the question. Yeah, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I don't think there's any question to that. It's really interesting where the Eagles go from here with the present team, but I'm going to remember all the great memories with him on the field, off the field. You name it. This guy is a Philadelphian now, and I'm going to miss him, man. I'm going to really miss him on this team.
Yeah, it's going to be a sad day. It's going to be weird just seeing that. I think it's going to hit me most when they're showing the starting lineup or the starters in the first Eagles game, and Jason Kelce's picture is not going to be up there. I like my real quick, like I already went through all of these emotions. Like I was going through these simultaneously during the Eagles collapse last year. Like, so I've already kind of ran through these emotions. I know Ryan had an emotional day.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie and try to be the tough guy here. I wept, and I'm okay saying that. This is a man that, as Rob said, embodied this city and to a T. I mean, he came in here an undersized, linebacker convert, and he had a chance and an opportunity to learn under Howard Mudd and Jeff Stoutland. I mean, what two better offensive line coaches could you come and learn under? And man, it just goes to show that he was able to absorb all of that and become the player that he became. And listen, he's clearly a guy who was kind of not counted, to do anything. A 6th-round pick. And he came in, he put his head down, he worked hard. That's the blue collar nature of this area. And he worked hard and he partied hard. And if that doesn't say Philly, then you obviously aren't from here, because that's the fact. That's what we love, because he's one of us. And he may be from Cleveland and all of that. He is one of us. He is a Philadelphian for the rest of his life. He's going to be in this area for a long, long time, having 3 young kids. He is the mayor of Sea Isle City. He'll never buy a drink in 100-mile radius of this area. And again, I think he's just one of those players, a generational player that will go down in infamy as one of the greats. And not only for who he was as a person, who he was off the field, but what he did on that field. And he did something I don't think any of us knew that was possible. He was a center that had so much strength and was able to get to that second level. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I watched that run by Darren Sproles against Washington, where he's, the run kicks out to the left and he's just following this line, and he has one guy here and he's looking at the next guy, and he's literally grabbing this guy and running him backwards. A professional athlete, and then goes and hits about 2-3 other people, gets Darren Sproles into the end zone. And that, to me, we weren't used to that. We were used to just big, fat offensive linemen, not guys that could get to that second level and nail guys to the ground. He was everything in this town, and honestly, it's an extremely sad day. This is on par with Dawkins. I think he's an automatic Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. I see that I'm going to have to go after a fraud Dallas fan who's kind of creeped his way in here and is running his mouth. But we'll talk about that guy in a minute. I will say to what Anthony says here, I don't think so. Like, it was very important, I think, for Jason Kelce to wear one uniform. I think that was huge for him, and I don't see him, pulling the Brett Favre, the Tom Brady, the leave for a year and then come back. I think you saw the emotion on that guy. He knew this was it. It had to be a very difficult decision with the way the season ended, but man, it's I don't know, man. This one hurts. This one hurts. The heart's a little broken today.
Anthony says he's going to come out of retirement after he takes a year off and play for a year with his brother in Kansas City.
I'll bet my house on that right now. Not happening.
All right. Let's roll. Do you have anything else to add?
I was going to say, do we address Danny Savage over here? Do we address his nonsense that he's throwing? Did you just compare it? I'm sorry. Was Chuck Howley the greatest linebacker or at his position ever? Because there's arguments from many people much smarter than me who have covered the NFL for a long time that Jason Kelce is one of, if not the top center to ever play the game. That's a little bit different. Oh, the guy was a Super Bowl MVP. He was an MVP on a losing Super Bowl team. I could care less about your nonsense. It's just, this is like Dallas. We are so, the real estate in your heads, Dallas fans, is amazing that you're going to take this moment to bring up Chuck Howley. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I don't live in Kensington, bro. I'm South Jersey, so I ain't chilling nowhere near Kensington.
And just Kelce was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, and considered to be one of the greatest center in years. I mean, you have to really go back to really find a center that rivals him, and just the way he dominated the game. I'm sorry, you could be a Dallas fan, you could be an Eagles fan, doesn't matter. Show some damn respect, okay?
Jerome Brown only played 5 seasons in the league before his untimely death. Unfortunately, there's a reason behind. There's reasons to what is going on here,
right.
But you naming a linebacker who is not one of the best in his position in the top 5 or 10 of all time. We're talking about one of the top 3, if not the best center of all time in the league.
Like a baby.
Yes, we all did. I think we all got emotional today. Mine came a little later. Mine didn't come as he was talking. Mine came when he was leaving the podium and hugging everybody. That's when I started
that got me too. Because again, that just shows the kind of man he is. He went up to everybody and either shook their hand or gave them a hug. Members of the media. Again, he built these relationships. He shows he's a great human being. And yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie and say that I wasn't sitting there, weeping and yelling back at the TV. When he started talking about the Super Bowl and how much he knew how much this meant to the city of Philadelphia. I sat there and said, "You're damn right. You're damn right." I was part of that, and I felt it. And I didn't get much work done after 1 o'clock. I'll tell you that.
His message should be up on the wall when new players walk into the building about what it takes to play here.
Yes.
And what the fans are about, because he put it in words that I think we've all tried to over the years, and so have other athletes who have played here. No one has ever so eloquently put it as Jason Kelce. I thought his speech overall was phenomenal, but like that little chunk was really special. Really special.
It's like a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes of just, being able to handle it, being able to, understand the fans. I mean, he even said it. He didn't get it right away, but he did. He eventually did. And listen, we want the best for this team. We want you to go out there and give it 110%. We want you to show your hard work out on that field. And listen, you may not win, but I think the average fan will respect and appreciate that you went out there and you laid it out all on the line. Rather, again, if you win or lose, that's just me.
I like how
we shot at Slay.
All right, let's roll on to our second topic of the night, and that is our top takeaway from the combine over the last few days. Ryan, what was your take?
And listen, I will say this with the caveat that I have not even begun to dive into the combine. I kind of had it on in the background. I watched when I could. But I have the next week and a half that I plan on watching all of the combine, probably 2 or 3 times over. But from what I did see, obviously I think we all were paying attention to the defensive side of the ball. The big boys really showed out There were, Brandon Fisk from Florida State was one guy that,
Yes.
I thought really helped his draft stock. Chop Robinson was a Penn Stater. I felt like he solidified himself as a first rounder. Byron Murphy, again, another first rounder out of Texas. Really showed that he could be the number one D tackle in this draft. And listen, there were a lot of flashy things. Again, everybody's talking about Xavier Worthy and the 4.21, and that's great. And honestly, I wish nothing but the best for the kid. But some of those kind of things don't necessarily impress me, because I think when you look at speed and 40 times, they don't always transfer.
Ask Al Davis.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, yeah, Hayward Bay, and who was the previous record? John Ross from out of Washington. He didn't really do much with his career. So, I was more interested in some of the drills and some of the bigger guys, kind of what they could show, and their their athletic scores. So, all in all, I thought a lot of, what I love about the combine is it really separates. It really separates those who are going to be good draft picks and those who are not. And there were a few people that really slipped and messed up. And there were a few that made themselves probably a couple of $1 million just on the combine.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the Eagles look at Jackson Powers Johnson, Graham Barton, Zach Frazier? Because I assume we're all going to see Cam Jurgens move to center, correct? I think that's a lot.
Yes, listen, I think so, but again, I think the scenario is there where 22 comes around and maybe we draft Jackson Powers Johnson, and instead of switching,
You can play both guard and center.
I know he can, but he's primarily a center, and from what I understand, that's what he wants to play. I can totally see them just saying, you know what, kid? It's yours. The throne's yours. Stay here for 13 years, please.
Yeah.
And keep Jurgens at right guard and build him up as a right guard.
See, I think it's Jurgens as the center. And I go back to 2 years ago when there were questions about Kelce. We weren't 100% sure. And if you remember, he was on a podcast as Cam Jurgens got drafted and his reaction. And he said, "This is who I told them to go get."
Yeah.
This was the plan all along, right? Like Howie doesn't draft a year of for a lot of these guys. So Howie drafted him 2 years ago with the idea that he was going to slide over. Now, do they draft a guard? Yeah, that's very possible. We know the Eagles, right? We're all hoping defense in the first round. If there's a guard available when they come up at 22, let's face it, we all might as well just tell ourselves they're drafting a guard, unless they have a plan, which I'll talk about later, in free agency to go address the guard, a la a Brandon Brooks situation from a few years back, where they went out and paid top money for a young guard to build them up that way. So we'll see. But I think it's, and I think I heard Ike Reese say this today, and I for once actually agree with something. And he said, no, this is don't mess up your plan. Cam Jurgens, it's not like Cam Jurgens lit the world on fire at right guard. He was okay. But let's get him back to where we drafted him to be, and that was the replacement to Jason Kelce, the guy that Jason Kelce basically handpicked to replace him. And I think that's what they do. But I agree. Let's not be stupid. Offensive line is totally on the table now in the first round, and I'm heartbroken, but that's besides the point.
Hey, as long as it's not an offensive tackle, go for it.
Let's jump into real quick winners and losers from the combine. Mr. Rudy Poo brings up Cameron Kinchens, whose raw athletic score was like a 2.7.
That can't be right. Like, it can't be right.
I've watched a lot of Kinchens.
Right.
Man. That guy makes acrobatic play after acrobatic play. I was shocked to see that.
Right. Like, I feel like something went wrong. And and calculate properly because
Good. Let
was
them
a-
fall to us in the
it's
second or third now. We'll take them there.
that was like
like
there's
you're
yeah,
right.
that was the one like tweet that I saw. That doesn't match. That doesn't work. Like just watch some of his like interceptions, and he's a very athletic player. Loser, I gotta say, I think it's Kalen King.
Alan King, absolutely.
I sorry if you're a Penn State fan, but the dude is dropping like a rock. He came in.
His drop, like it's unbelievable. I saw him in the first round, way early in this whole draft process, this mock draft process, so to speak. And throughout the season, he kept sliding and sliding and sliding. He didn't have the greatest season and kind of fell into the second round, which whatever. But once the season was over, my God, I mean, Senior Bowl he dropped. Now Combine he dropped.
So,
I don't
so
know,
what you're-
fifth round maybe.
So what you guys are saying is Kalen King dropped very much like Penn State's ability to play football drops whenever they play somebody that is actually good.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what
much.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Just trying to
Yeah.
follow it. I'm a Penn State fan too. I'm saying that as like anger because I'm not a big fan of the coach, but that's besides the point.
He ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. Like Ryan said, he was like one of the top corners in this league to the point where he might not be drafted. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Winners, Quinyon Mitchell putting some serious heat on Terrion Arnold for CB1, which is amazing. I think Quinyon Mitchell's legit. I thought Peyton Wilson really became a household name as a linebacker. Ryan, you touched on some other ones. I think just in general, the wide receiver class is historic. This is one of the best wide receiver groups of all time. Like you got guys out there putting up a like Brian Thomas Jr. He ran a 4.33 and nobody's even freaking talking about it.
Nobody.
Like
No.
that's how it really just the wide receiver group dominated the storyline all weekend.
Yeah, I think pre-draft. You just look pre-draft. This has to be as far back as I can remember. And again, I'm not. I don't go back super old, but I can't remember a wide receiver class being this dominant. Just on paper, from what the film shows in pre-draft rankings, it's insane.
Yep. Let's get some comments real quick. Anthony says John Ross didn't have much of a career because he destroyed his knee pretty bad. Mr. Rudy Poo says, I trust Juergens. I trust Kelce. I know Kelce had a big part in Cam Juergens. Jackson Powers Johnson will not be there, but Barton will be a reach. I don't know. Maybe. Barton's right there. Barton would be one of those like draft selections where if they picked him, I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't be terribly excited. Barton's going to be legit, man. He's a very I covered him. Like he's pound for pound. He's a sure thing. A guy that you can just plug and play, and he's going to be terrific. But yeah, not the sexiest pick, of course. You have to give Cam a chance. What about Steen? That's a great conversation to see. We're going to learn a lot about the Eagles over the next month or so to see what they're going to do at that right guard spot because we're going to learn how much they trust the development of Tyler Steen at right guard.
And I mean that's a guy that was a healthy scratch to use a hockey term in the last game of the season, for the Eagles. But I think if we said if there's one guy in this organization we trust 100%, it's Jeff Stoutland, and whatever Jeff Stoutland tells me to believe in, I'm going to believe in it. So whatever he says sounds great to me. I'm with you.
Agreed. It is going to be interesting to see what does happen, whether they, say, you know what, we have had a dominant offensive line for how long? Let's maybe let's trust our guys and let's put some resources into some other positions. And maybe they go with Juergens and Steen and center and right guard.
Yep.
Or just stick around for 5 more minutes, and I'm going to tell you what the Eagles should do. That's just me.
Juergens at center. Now Kelce can work with Juergens one-on-one. Rudy Poo says Steen looked good when he played. He needs to be given a chance. I think you can say that a lot about a lot of players on the Philadelphia Eagles. They need a chance. Young players, they need a chance.
Yeah.
Is Steen big enough to play guard? Absolutely.
Yes.
He was drafted to play guard, absolutely, and he does have some tackle experience, which did not go very well. Didn't Landon Collins play center at
Dickerson,
Bama?
he meant Dickerson. Landon Dickerson.
He meant Dickerson, and they got him in the chat for it. He apologized for that. I can respect that. I can respect the mistake.
Another Georgia Bulldog center. I don't think we have one of those this year. I think the one that had a horrible performance in the college football playoff. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but I remember him like he could not snap a football on a safe slip.
Yeah. Well, wait, from Georgia?
No, I'm thinking of the Bama guy. Who's
the Bama guy? Cedric Van Pran is the Georgia guy that I wouldn't mind later in the draft.
Who's the Bama center?
I don't even have.
He had a rough go in that game.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Nick Laughlin. Yeah, but anyway, he's probably gonna be like a day 3 guy at best. All right. Yeah, Dickerson's gonna stay at left guard. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Big boy.
That's not. Yeah, there's no discussion about that. Penn State is the Dallas of college. Can't beat good teams. It's true. It's so true.
I'm starting to kind of like Danny Savage here. He's winning me over now.
He's turning this around. Yeah.
He's circling the wagons.
I just want this draft to be defense centric. Absolutely agreed. And they have a real opportunity to do it. Where this draft is strongest, like they have a good chance, especially in that day 2 area, to fix some major holes with some really good talent. Rudy Poo says, I wish Arnold ran better. I thought Arnold was fine. I still think, in my opinion, he's CB1. That's just my take. Are you concerned with Coleman's 40? I am not. If you look pound for pound, like given his weight and size, he's a massive dude.
Didn't you see him? See, that's the thing. He may not have ran a great 40, but you saw him on the, again, I don't remember what the drill's called, where basically you're running on a straight line, you're catching balls from both sides. He got up to 20 miles per hour just on that, and was able to turn it up. So I'm not worried about his speed at all. You see it on tape, you see it in other ways. He just didn't run a good 40 as what we all expected, but I'm not worried about it at all. I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, me too. Here's a tweet. I love how they do that now. Like some players are not burners, and you have to kind of take into account what they do, like given their size. There she is. Despite registering the slowest top speed of any Group 8 receiver that was tracked during the 40-yard dash, Keon Coleman showed off his game speed while running routes. Coleman tied for the second fastest top speed of the group while running a go route 21 plus miles an hour, like Ryan said.
Yeah, not worried about it.
Yeah, same here. Lad McConkey, definitely a big time riser for sure. Definitely now kind of putting some pressure on as a end of day 1 wide receiver. Pretty wild stuff. Barton, very nasty. You guys need a right tackle. How much long? Yeah, that's definitely, I think,
next year's problem.
That's next year's problem. But I know the Eagles are meeting with a lot of tackles. So that's definitely, and you look at every single mock draft from everybody that's possibly plugged in, they're mocking a tackle like Tyler Guyton or so to the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's scary. That's scary because listen, as much as I know how he's thought, I know how he thinks, I know he's always thinking of the chess move, 3-4, moves down the line. But listen, I'm sorry, you have Howie right here. You have too many holes. You don't have the luxury of drafting for a few years down the line. You need to plug holes now. Worry about right tackle next year, please.
My hope is at the very worst, he does kind of what he did with Kelce and uses one of his 2 second-round picks on the tackle, I still won't be thrilled, but I'll be a lot happier if he does that than takes his first-round pick and puts it on a guy that isn't going to play for 2 to 3 years. Lane has already said, I'm in for 2 to 3 more years.
Right.
So, I mean, you got to keep that in the back of your head going forward. But, God, I might as well just prepare myself now.
I'd be very upset if he drafted a tackle in the first 3 rounds. Very upset.
You're going to be upset.
Yeah, he's absolutely drafting a tackle at some point.
Guys, I'm upset every single year. Every year. The draft never goes the way that I want it.
No.
It went the way Dives wanted it one year. I just wonder how he feels now. Jalen Reagor.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
It's been a minute.
Wow, that's a mean call out.
Right. There was a point where every single show for like a year, I made sure to find a way to tie Jalen Reagor into it.
It was so non-related. It was just bring it up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
And yet I trust him with my life on the draft. I trust Dives with my life.
Listen, even the greats miss one every once in a while.
Leggett was amazing. He's so good, man. What did he run? Xavier Leggett ran a 4.39. He ran a 4.39. Man, he's love Xavier Leggett. I think he's so underrated. He definitely is a first-round guy for me. Defense. Absolutely. Rudy Poo says, I just want starters on defense and get to the locker room. Mr. Jennifer Slane.
Take you and your banana pudding out of here.
Zeke Elliott going to the Eagles next year. We covered so we're going to get into free agent targets in a second. But we did cover Tony Pollard. Go check that out. There's a short on the channel on that as well with highlights. First 3 picks on defense.
Yep.
And I'm starting to believe Slay is a problem. Yeah.
I think I just think people don't like the way he handles himself on social media and podcasts. So the fact of the matter is he was the only somewhat reliable corner you had on the outside last year. Let him finish out his year here. To be honest with you, right? You've lost Kelce as a veteran leader. You're probably going to lose Fletcher Cox. You kind of need some of these veterans to stick around for this year. I hope Slay's here personally. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. I don't think he's going anywhere.
We can't afford it.
No. All right. Let's jump into our top Eagles free agents here. I'll go first since you guys have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But leading off, let's talk about Frankie Louvu, linebacker. We all know the Eagles' run defense was a sore spot last year. And common sense, let's bring in one of the better run defenders at linebacker in free agency. Frankie Louvu would probably be a household name if he played outside of Carolina. He should be one of the Eagles' top targets in free agency. 2 straight years of at least 100 tackles and 5.5 sacks. He had 62 defensive stops against the run since 2022, which ranks 12th best among linebackers in that span. Not a great coverage guy, but when it comes to attacking the passer, shooting through gaps, racking up tackles for loss, man, not many are better than Frankie Louvu. He's been a standout for the Panthers defense, but has not had a lot of time in the spotlight. And per Pro Football Focus, Louvu is projected to command a contract in somewhere around 3 years, 30 million, 17 guaranteed. I think pairing this kind of guy next to Nakobe Dean would be very logical and make a lot of sense. And that's a little bit on Frankie Louvu. Who wants to go next?
My guy Ryan.
Ryan's up.
All right. What you giving me? My defense first?
Sure.
All right. Let's go with it. Listen, so we talked about some defenders maybe leaving this team. We did just hear Brandon Graham is all but coming back. But honestly, outside of that, who do you really have? You have Reddick, who we all love, but kind of had a little bit of a disappointing year, didn't live up to the full potential, and now he's in maybe contract talks, maybe trade talks. We don't know. You have Josh Sweat coming off of a down year, disappointing year. You have Nolan Smith, who they don't even bother playing. So you need somebody else to come in and outside of maybe drafting a guy early, a vet might be the way to go. And I went with Chase Young, who formerly of the Washington Commanders, just most recently with the San Francisco 49ers, had himself a sack in the Super Bowl. Listen, this guy, I feel like, has a lot of talent. And, I feel like he's kind of been humbled a little bit. Probably not going to want, a super crazy contract. And I think he might be in that nice sweet spot of getting a veteran who can come in, be in a nice rotation. He's always kind of been the guy. And for whatever reason, that never really worked for him. And so I think if you kind of come in, you have him to go along with Sweat, Reddick, the true vet in Brandon Graham, and you got the young kid Nolan Smith, and who knows, maybe another rookie. That right there sounds like a really nice, kind of a pass rush edge, rotation, where I think he could come in and fit kind of nicely, not have that pressure of, being such a high draft pick, being the guy, the man, having to be relied, upon to kind of do everything. And listen, he's had productive years. He's had some injuries, so again, that's kind of slowed him down. But when he's on his game, and when he's fully healthy, and he's able to, he's able to reach good sack totals, and I think he could really be kind of a missing rotational piece for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Rudy Poo says he grew up a diehard Eagles fan.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Never heard that.
Interesting.
On the cheap.
Who's your source? Listen, I didn't say like cheap, but I'm just saying cheaper than say your top. He's kind of in that mid tier guys. So,
how long does Howie keep trying to salvage Nakobe Dean? He's going to get a shot. He's going to be the guy next year. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous.
I think it's this year and this year only.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Who are you covering today, Rob?
All right. So I'm gonna take you to free agency of yesteryear here today. It's 2016, and the Philadelphia Eagles have a glaring hole at a guard position. And they decide that they're going to spend a ton of money on a guy by the name of Brandon Brooks. And wouldn't you know it, that PFF.com has a free agent comparison than that of Brandon Brooks on the market this season. And that guy is guard Robert Hunt of the Miami Dolphins. Okay, Robert Hunt is 6'6", he's 335, big dude. Ran a zone rushing scheme down there in Miami, but he's young. He's coming off of his rookie deal. He's ready to make an impact. He's going to cost you. But here we go, right? The Eagles love to build in the trenches. Why not spend – you've spent a ton of money on the defensive line over the last couple of years. Maybe this is the year that you dip into those pockets and you spend a little bit on the offensive line. So now you can go with your plan. You move Juergens over to center. Hunt slides right in the right guard, and man, is your line still very, very big from one side to the other. I am totally fine with signing a right guard that is 27 years old. You're not signing a guy that's 30. You're not signing an aging veteran. You're signing a young guy who's ready to make some money. It worked with Brandon Brooks. Why not do it again now? At a time where you already have a question of center because Cam Juergens is a young player. Do you really want two young players right next to each other and you want to question that all season? This isn't a rebuilding season for the Eagles. I understand that Jason Kelce leaving is it upsets people, but let's be real, fellas. This is not a rebuilding season. If it was a rebuilding season, the coach would have been out the door. This is a show me something season. You got Jalen Hurts, you got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith. You need to go out there and have guys that you could plug in and win football games next season. I think Robert Hunt is that guy. And now that Jason Kelce is officially retired, I think you got to go after it.
All right, Robert Hunt for Rob. Pretty Poo does not like that. I like drafting and grooming.
You could draft a guy. You could draft a guy, but you need depth on the offensive line. But why not sign a veteran who's young who could come in and play right away?
Listen, I'll say this. The last 2 times that we went outside of our normal drafting, and that's to get Brandon Brooks and to trade for Jason Peters. Those 2 turned out pretty freaking good, huh?
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. I am up. I'm going to roll. I'm sticking with the defense for me. Let's talk about Eddie Jackson. He was an All-Pro in 2018, defensive captain for the Chicago Bears. His efficiency in coverage has really gone down over the last few. Between 2017 and 2019, his first 3 years in the NFL, dude was everywhere. 10 picks, 5 fumble recoveries, 3 returned interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns, and then 2 seasons where he could not buy a turnover. He had just had 1 fumble recovery and 0 interceptions. Then in 2022, kind of got back to his old form. He had 3 picks in his first 4 games. And then he suffered a foot injury in week 12, and he kind of went downhill right after that. He just had 1 interception and then kind of didn't look the same. You look at the Bears, they're probably looking to move on. This could be a nice addition to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think I read a tweet that he's trying to put together the best season ever by a safety this season. So, if you're looking at a guy that could provide that veteran leadership at the safety spot, Eddie Jackson. Any thoughts on Eddie Jackson?
Yeah, I like him. I think he'd be a great fit. I've often thought that the Eagles do need to, sign a safety, draft a safety. Same with the linebacking. And yeah, Eddie Jackson, I think is not going to be, super expensive. With some of the top names on free agency at safety. But yeah, I kind of like him as kind of a second tier cost wise, but could give you top tier ability.
All right. Pretty Boo says, please God help, please help us. 30-year-olds. Yeah, he is 30. Ryan, do you have another free agent target?
I do. Yes. I went on the offensive side of the ball this time. And, we have talked many hours about what the hell do we do at wide receiver 3? I mean, Quez Watkins ain't the answer. Zacchaeus ain't the answer. Old ass Julio Jones ain't the answer. So what do? Well, why don't we sign somebody? And insert Calvin Ridley. This guy was a first-round pick out of Alabama to Atlanta. Started his first couple of years, about 65 catches, over 800 yards, and finally blew up in 2020. 90 catches, 1,300 yards, and then unfortunately got a little injured. Then we all know had his little gambling year off, and reemerged with Jacksonville in 2023. So this is the first time really since his breakout season in 2020. He's really played some meaningful games. Was healthy the entire season. 76 catches, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. One thing I will say about Calvin Ridley is he can absolutely get into the end zone. And that's exactly what he does. 36 touchdowns in 66 games. It's pretty darn good. And considering that we need some help, we need to figure out we have basically gotten zero production out of our third wide receiver. And, you have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Bringing in somebody like a Calvin Ridley could alleviate, some of the double coverage, the deep coverage, the safeties, having the three of those on the field with Dallas Goedert, with Jalen Hurts, with, hopefully DeAndre Swift, somebody like that. I mean, I don't see a weakness in this offense. I think, honestly, that is what this offense is missing to unlock that potential. And that's getting in here a more than solid wide receiver number 3. I mean, I think Calvin Ridley is a number 2 on most teams. And it probably could even be a number 1, on some of the lower teams. But listen, I think Ridley might want a pretty penny, but maybe I'm thinking maybe it's not as crazy as it may seem to kind of get him in here at a quasi reasonable price. I mean, yes, they'll have to pay money, but they got some money and they got some extra money with that salary cap going up. So why not throw a little bit and complete this offense? Get this offense running at 110% where nobody's stopping it. And you literally are, what are you going to complain about? The wide receiver 4 now? I mean, yeah, I'm sure we will, but still, that's a pretty good problem to have. Let's get somebody in here. Calvin Ridley, I would absolutely love to have him.
Especially with a lot more spread offense next year.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot less targets downfield with AJ and Devontae. I think we're going to spread the ball a lot more.
Yeah.
With our new coordinator, Rob. Who's your last guy?
Yeah, so my last guy is more so someone that I think fits the Eagles mold of free agency at the linebacker position. It's not going to be one of the top guys on the board, but it's going to be a guy that, when healthy, has been pretty good in this league. And guess what? He got his start here. As a matter of fact, he was injured during the Super Bowl run in 2017. But why not welcome back? You guys see what's been going on this whole show, by the way. This damn dog is just not leaving me alone tonight. I don't know what in God's name he got into him. But anyway, back to the show. Yeah, back to the show. Jordan Hicks is my guy, okay? And I think Hicks was a guy that people were not happy when he left here. If you remember when he left, a lot of people were disappointed. And he went out to Arizona and he actually led the league in tackling, or was one of the top guys in tackling that year. I know his game has dropped off a little bit. I know he is not the best in coverage, but he's without a doubt a willing tackler. He likes to get into the gaps. He likes to hit. And he could be a veteran presence in that linebacker room, a la Zach Cunningham was last year, if you're going to move on from those guys. I'm not saying that this is my favorite signing, but this is something that I could absolutely see the Philadelphia Eagles doing in free agency at the linebacker position, letting the top guys go. And when you get into the tier B of free agency, tier C, that range, maybe calling back out and saying, hey, do you want to come back? Maybe this is a year of bringing back former Eagles who left too soon. Maybe there's a safety in that mix too, but we can talk about that another time. But yeah, I think Jordan Hicks kind of fits the mold of the type of linebacker the Eagles like to sign in free agency.
All right, Jordan Hicks for Rob.
Nice.
We're getting a lot of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. There's a lot of Ezekiel Elliott talking.
Yeah, I don't know what he showed us last year.
Right. What did he show you? He
had 2 games.
Nothing.
He had 2 games.
28 years old. He played all 17 games last year. Nearly 1,000 yards from scrimmage, 5 touchdowns.
Really?
I wouldn't have thought that. I would not have thought that. So maybe he did show us.
Maybe we're just haters.
He was on the Patriots on a 1-year, $6 million deal.
That's way too much. Listen, I get it, but I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't allocate that money right back to DeAndre Swift. I mean, what's up, bud? Yeah. I mean, listen, this guy's proven that he's a good fit. He I feel like him in Moore's offense would be a great fit. And I'm just ready to kind of again. I'm sick and tired of this musical chair BS, and I also don't want to see Kenny Gainwell. So please,
watch it be Michael Gallup when he gets released.
I mean, listen, anybody's better than Quez Watkins, so I'd welcome it. But
I'm not normally the guy that says don't sign Dallas Cowboys. It never works out. But why do I see Michael Gallup and think Miles Austin? Instantly popped into my head Miles Austin when he came here and was god awful.
That's putting it nicely.
I don't want Gardner Johnson. He slandered the fan base on his way out.
I can get over that.
Yeah, I usually get over
that. The guy was a ball hawk here two years ago.
And literally, he talked. He was like on the live stream or something, and it was already after he signed. So, like, yeah, of course, like Philly fans were probably in his ear right 2 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he say something?
I will take him back here because the last year he was here, and damn it, he was huge for that defense.
Absolutely.
And he's young.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. We're over 52 minutes into this thing. Rob, final thoughts on everything.
My final thoughts is I might be giving my dog up for adoption if anybody wants. Jesus, God, leave me alone tonight now. Okay. But look, it's going to take us a while, I think, to get over this Jason Kelce thing. But eventually, it is going to be a celebration of this guy's career. Where it's sad, it's upsetting. He's going to be around. I don't know what his next stop is. Is it TV? Is it radio? Is it, does he want to get into coaching? I mean, he's talked about that before. I guarantee you there's always he reminds me, obviously in a much stronger degree, but like Connor Barwin, after playing here, never left the organization. I can see a Jason Kelce being that kind of a guy, but he's got the persona for TV, man. He's going to be somewhere. I don't know if he's in a booth calling games or if he's an analyst, but he's got such a great persona. He's not going anywhere. We're going to still see him. And, I think like that's become a bucket list is I want to meet that guy and just say thank you, man, because he really was the epitome of a Philadelphia Eagle for so long.
Yeah, I'm maybe I'm in the minority, but this is a happy day for me. Like the fact that like he went out on top, it means a lot to me, at least. Like watching Ryan Howard in his final legs with the Phillies, that was brutal, man. I hated that. That was just not
true.
Okay.
It's true.
So that's just my personal thought. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs.
Yeah, listen. Well, I think we all knew this day was coming. It's it's never something easy, and it's never something that no matter how much you prepare for it, it makes it hurt any less. And you're right, Dibs. It is a happy day. Ultimately, he is going out on his own terms. Usually, it's rare when NFL players retire. Usually, the NFL retires players, and he got to keep all of his functions intact and able to go back home and be a husband and be a father, and that's what's most important. So I'm happy for him in that, and I have had the pleasure of meeting him, and I have had the pleasure of telling him thank you, and believe me, he knows how much this whole area loves him and appreciates him for what he's done for us and what he brought to the city. So, I'll forever be grateful. I'll probably go to sleep in my pile of Jason Kelce jerseys, crying myself to sleep. But whatever, But let's not talk about it. But it is what it is.
But I will throw this out there. My daughter has one Eagles jersey. It's a Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
Eagles jersey.
Wow. I just hung 4 fat heads on my son's wall that came as a package, and Jason Kelce's up there. And I swear to you, as I put my son to bed tonight, I went up there and gave it one pat, like a you know, like such like I could hear the music in my head playing as I gave him the pat.
Believe.
God, I'm pathetic.
Yeah, who's going on Fanatics later and ordering more Jason Kelce stuff?
Oh my God,
That's terrific. That's terrific. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. We're wrapping it up, man. Hit that like button wherever you're watching. We'll be back on Monday nights tomorrow night. Birds of the Round Table at 8 o'clock, talking more NFL scouting combine, winners, losers, and more. And I think there is a Sixers post game tomorrow, I believe. So we'll be doing that as well. So one last time, Ryan Reese, give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA, and that's Rob. Langy at Philly_Madness. I am Dives for Ryan, for Rob, for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. The comments were awesome today. They were pumping.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much for joining. We'll be back next Monday night at 9. Stay awesome, everyone.